On today's episode of Locked On Mariners, we've got a couple cool minor league signings to talk about, and then we're going to get into your mock trades for Fan Fiction Friday. Colby, hit it.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everyone? It is Friday, February 10th, 2023. This is Trident Gonzalez and Colby Patnode for the Locked On Mariners podcast, brought to you by FanDuel, the official sportsbook of the Locked On Podcast Network. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. Thank you so much for making us your first listen. Subscribe, like, and turn on alerts if you're watching on YouTube, or subscribe and leave a 5-star review on your preferred podcast platform if you like what you hear. And if you want to hear from us even more, please consider signing up for our Patreon. The link, as well as our social accounts, is in the description below. It is Fan Fiction Friday today. That's the show where Colby and I react to and grade your Mariners trade proposals. We'll be getting into those a little later on, though. We have a couple things that we have to cover here before we do, including the fact that we are going back to our full slate starting on Monday. 5 shows a week. Yes, we are back to 5 shows a week starting on Monday because pitchers and catchers for the WBC are reporting on Sunday, and then the rest of the pitchers and catchers who are just participating in spring training overall going to be reporting a couple days later, and we're going to be in the full swing of things here for spring training. So yeah, you guys are getting a whole lot more of us. Colby is very excited, very thrilled about that. We're also going to be doing some shorts, going to be doing some other things here to give you guys some content, but yeah, we're going to be full go from next week all the way to the winter meetings, essentially, this December.
I'm so excited, I just can't hide it.
That's right. All right. I know something that will excite you, though. Leonys Martin is back, Colby, our boy. We love Leonys Martin here. We stan Leonys Martin here on the Locked On Mariners podcast. This is one that I was not expecting to see. We got a couple of non-roster invites over the last couple days. There's a lot of guys that we've looked at as possible non-roster invitee candidates, but Leonys Martin certainly did not ever cross my mind. He's been over in Japan for the last few years, coming off of a pretty down year for him, but he is back. He's going to get an opportunity here to find his way back into Major League Baseball. The thing here that I'm really interested in, Leonys is still only 34 years old, but kind of curious, notoriously just a great clubhouse guy. I kind of wonder if this is maybe the first step for him to get more involved with the organization as like an advisor or a coach or something along those lines. But yeah, Colby, Leonys is back. What do you think?
Well, I think it's disrespectful to just assume his career is over. So, shame on you, Ty. You're going to be shocked when he gets 400 plate appearances as a left fielder and puts up 3 wins. So
I'm down.
Sorry, Jared.
I'm down for the last
Sorry,
part,
Jared.
man.
It's Leonys. And, some of us were more excited than others. Some of us wanted to do an emergency pod. Others didn't. I don't want to name names, but I think the direct quote was why would we do an emergency pod about a camp body, which, whoa, again, disrespectful to Leonys.
Hey, if you have 20 to 30 minutes worth of content on Leonys Martin, by all means,
how could you not?
If you're
the guy had a
star
mariachi band follow him around spring training one day. I mean, come on,
Hey, and also, if you're the star of the show, you can do it on your own, man. If you're the talent,
I could. I am trying to throw you a bone, man. All right, you need to be more grateful when I do. I'm trying to throw
you a bone. I'm trying to throw you a bone, and and say,
you want
hey. You are actually
let us know in the comments down below, guys. No, let us know in the comments down below. Who do you think would be better at a solo show? The answer is probably Ty, but
well, considering that I have actually done a solo show before.
Yeah, and it went great. Anyways,
actually, you did pretty well, numbers wise. Don't make me pull the receipts. I'll pull the receipts.
Okay, then you can pull all the receipts of the 10,000 view episodes that we have and see, who's on those ones? Me. Interesting. Anyways, so yeah, I don't know what Leonys's role is going to be. And it's the odds that he makes the team are obviously very low. But it is interesting. He's 34 years old. He really showed power, which we kind of already knew he had, but he really showed it in Japan. It's a little bit different. Numbers in Japan, power numbers, typically don't translate as much as you would like. So Obviously, those get taken with a grain of salt, but it's one of those things where we'll have to see what he looks like. Can he still run around a little bit? Can he still play the field pretty well? I'm sure he still has a really strong arm. We'll have to see what the bat speed looks like. But yeah, it's interesting that they signed him, and there doesn't appear to be much of a path for him to make the team. So I do think it's fair to ask, is he here as kind of like a last hurrah before the Mariners, maybe, ask him to be a roving instructor or some kind of, ambassador to the organization, because he's a really good clubhouse guy. You're not going to, you're going to have some at-bats to give with the WBC going on. And we'll see, maybe he sticks around in AAA Tacoma, or maybe it's, I try to make the team, I don't, I retire, and now I'm part of the organization. It is interesting, he did post on Twitter yesterday that he was coming home to Seattle, which is it's nice to see. It really is, because Leonys, has been around a few clubs, and maybe it was just a figure of speech. I don't know, but the fact that he called the Pacific Northwest home, that was fun. That was nice, yeah, and that's why Leonys is the best.
Yeah, we love Leonys. Yeah, so really cool that he's back.
By the way, did we ever settle? Is it Leonys or Leonys?
I think Dave Sims tried to make it Leonys, but I think it's
Leonys. That's what I remember him saying.
Or maybe Leonys. I think it's Leonys. I think that's what it actually is.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. Let us know if we're wrong. Let us know in the comments. You guys love to let us know when we're wrong anyway.
Yeah.
Or at least
although
when
you're
you
usually
think.
wrong. Yeah.
At least when
you're usually
when
wrong
you
when you try to correct us, but
yeah.
Whatever.
The other one that the other NRI that the Mariners have signed here is Carson Fulmer, right-handed pitcher, former first-round draft pick, former top 10 draft pick of the Chicago White Sox. Big fastball, was a star at Vanderbilt, but it's not been a great career for him in the majors. He's 29 years old now, was most recently with the Dodgers organization, did not make an appearance for the Dodgers at the major league level. Last time he was in the majors and pitching was in 2021 with the Reds. He threw 25 2/3 innings, 8.42 Ks per nine, 4.56 walks per nine, a 6.66 ERA, folks, and a 4.69 FIP. Wow, Carson Fulmer is the man of memes. But yeah, big fastball here, so that's fun. Former first round pick, former top 10 pick, so we know, that's the whole Jerry DiPoto thing. But it's interesting, it's something that makes you look, at least. So what do you think about Fulmer?
Nothing.
Cool.
He's just a dude. There's nothing. Like, I don't know how many. Didn't Fulmer get like DFA'd like 6 times one year, and he ended up on the Pirates like 3 separate times? I feel like that was him, but no. Yeah, obviously, Jerry likes to take the shots on the former top prospects, on first round picks. So it's not all that surprising that they would take a shot on Fulmer. Coming out, he was a big fastball guy, and it was all about, hey, does he have enough control and command to start? It turns out he didn't have enough control or command to be a reliever, which obviously is a big issue. There have been some injuries as well, but again, it's a big fastball, it's cutter, and it's a former top 10 pick and top 50 prospect in all of baseball. Yeah, I mean, that's the guy Jerry's always going to try and take a shot on. So not all that surprising, but I really don't foresee any path to the big leagues. And I'd be pretty shocked if he, pitched any meaningful innings for the Mariners in 2023.
Yeah. I mean, if they think that they've identified something here, then sure.
Sure. It's worth a shot. Yeah. It doesn't cost you anything, but
yeah, kick the tires on him, see what's there. And
I think there's like 9 guys ahead of him.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the Mariners have some answers that other teams didn't for Carson Fulmer.
Yeah.
Doubt it, but who knows? This is, one of the model pitching development staffs in all of baseball. So you never know. And I mean, Fulmer, he was with the Dodgers though this past year. So if the Dodgers couldn't figure it out for him, then probably not. But we'll like I said, you never know. All right. So yeah, Carson Fulmer, Leonys Martin, couple fun pickups. I like those. We'll see what we'll see what they can bring in spring, and see if they're anything more than what we're thinking here. All right, We're going to get into your trades in just a moment, but real quick, a reminder, this episode of Locked On Mariners is brought to you by FanDuel. Now, we're really excited about our new sports betting partner for Locked On because they're the #1 sports book in America. Yeah, that's right, FanDuel. And if you're new to FanDuel, that's even better. They have so many great features that make betting on sports fun and easy. Download FanDuel now so you can bet on Super Bowl 57 with a no-sweat first bet. You'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. FanDuel lets you bet on everything from the money line to point spreads to who will score a touchdown. Here's how things are looking for Super Bowl 57 MVP. We got the quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts, both at plus 130. Then Travis Kelce sits at plus 1,600. A.J. Brown at 1,800. Miles Sanders at plus 2,500. And Devontae Smith at plus 3,100. And everyone else is below those guys, of course. The FanDuel Sportsbook app is safe, secure, and super easy to use. Best of all, you can get paid your winnings instantly. So join FanDuel today at FanDuel.com/lockedon to claim your no sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. That's FanDuel.com/LOCKEDON. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast. Thank you again for making us your first listen. It is Fan Fiction Friday. Let's get into your Mariners mock trades. Going to be doing a few of them on today's show, and we're going to start with Langston here, who has a 1-for-1 swap with the Rockies. Rockies get Chris Flexen. Mariners get C.J. Cron, the first baseman, who would DH a little bit for them, come off the bench, play a little bit of first, etc. From a valuation standpoint, this is more than fine, in my opinion, at least. But from the Rockies' perspective, I don't know if they would really want Chris Flexen. I don't know what they would do with Chris Flexen. He only has a year left. He's not a young asset either, really. I don't know what the appeal of Chris Flexen is to a team like the Colorado Rockies, and given where they are right now. But valuation standpoint, this is fine. I'll give this one like a 45.
It's, a rental first baseman for a rental back end starter. That's usually about right. But this is why the teams that you pick, they're so important, because the Rockies don't have any need for Chris Flexen. And the Mariners really only have a slight need for C.J. Cron. Because as much as people want there to be a full-time DH in Seattle, there's not going to be. And the guy they bring in to be the primary DH, he's not going to be first base only. So, Cron's not even a great fit either. So, I think the valuation is fine. I just think that you have to consider what both teams are looking for and what they're trying to accomplish with this trade. And I don't think this trade would accomplish anything really for either team. It would help Seattle. Sure, it might help Colorado, but it's not a fit. So I'm going to give it a.
And even if you're Colorado and you're thinking like, all right, let's acquire Flexen, hope that he pops, and then we'll try and flip him at the deadline. Even if he pops, there's a pretty big cap on that, on what he can be ceiling wise. So you're not going to get a ton for him. I don't know. If you're trading CJ Cron, I'd rather, if just from a Rockies perspective, I'd rather just get a prospect. Take a flyer on someone.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Did you say a score or a grade?
A 40.
40, right, yeah. All right. Next up, we got Alex. Another 1-for-1, this time with the Orioles. Cade Marlowe to the Orioles. For left-handed reliever Cionel Perez, who's coming off of career year by his standards. Been rough for him outside of this past year, though. And I know, everyone wants the lefty reliever. I haven't really gotten into his splits. I don't know if he's actually a lefty specialist or whatnot. This is fine. I mean, because, this is a guy that has a lot of club control. And if he's actually figured some things out here, I mean, he was worth a full win this past season. That's a good pickup, especially, from if you're trading from your excess of, outfielders. But I'm really fascinated with Cade Marlowe. I would really like to see him in a Mariners uniform and just see what that looks like a little bit before trading him now. And I don't know if Perez is really the guy that I'm taking to forego that opportunity to see Marlowe. But yeah, this is interesting. This is creative. Perez is not someone that we've talked about, so I'll give this one 50. Colby?
Why would Baltimore trade Perez for Cade Marlowe? I think that's the question. I don't think it's terrible. Perez walked everybody until last year. So you kind of have to believe, if you're the Mariners, that he's got that figured out, because what you can't have is a reliever walking 6 guys per 9 innings, right?
Yeah.
Like, the Mariners are never going to have that. If there's somebody who does approach that, they're going to be in the minor leagues really quick. So you have to believe Perez is, for lack of a better term, fixed. And you have to believe that Jared Kelenic or Taylor Trammell is going to hit in the big leagues, because kind of the thing that the Mariners have going for them in left field right now is that they have 3 kind of like question marks, and they're playing the odds that one of them hits. Well, you take one of those guys away, then it's a little more pressure on Trammell. It's a little more pressure on Kelenic, unless you want to play Pollock every day, which you shouldn't want to do. So it's an interesting trade. I think the valuation is okay. I don't really know what the Orioles are doing. They had this big year last year, and then they really didn't do anything to make it better.
Well, and their GM has outright said, we're kind of looking at this as a development year. We kind of just want to gradually go from where we were last year and do that way, instead of adding on top of it. I don't know. It's a weird strategy for them. It's
dumb.
Yeah.
It's dumb, because the Orioles have the pieces to take that next step.
And bear in mind, this is the team that traded Jorge Lopez at the deadline, amidst being 3 games out of the wild card at the time that they did that.
And Mancini. Yep.
And Mancini.
So yeah, the Orioles, it's like the Orioles pick, we will not be competitive until 2024. And even if everything changes to make it possible in 22 and 23, no, we will not try and be good until 2024. So, but anyways, this is a Locked On Orioles. So I'd give this one I'll give it 45, 50, somewhere in that range. It's not bad.
Yeah. Put it at a 48. Split the difference. 47 and a half. Ooh. But yeah, no, I'm going 50 on it. Personally, I think it's cool. I think it's interesting, and I think both sides. I think there's a strong argument for both sides to do it. Yeah, I might dive into Perez a little bit more. He's interesting, and figure out a little bit more about him. All right. Coach JP has a deal with the Braves. Mariners get Marcell Ozuna and Ian Ritchie Jr. And Braves get Flexen and Trammell. Yeah, I have no interest in Marcell Ozuna for a multitude of reasons. He's been bad the last couple of years. He's just not a good dude. And Ian Ritchie Jr. is not enough for me to take on the money that Ozuna is carrying, especially for Trammell. I could really care less about Flexen in this situation, but giving up a legitimate asset in Trammell, yeah.
So with the Braves couldn't care less about Chris Flexen. So, essentially it's a contract swap where the Mariners are taking on not only a lot more money, but a much bigger headache and a much less valuable player to you than even Flexen, believe it or not. And then it's Ian Ritchie for Trammell.
I like Ian Ritchie.
I do too, but why would the Braves do that?
Yeah. No.
The Braves don't need Trammell. They don't need Flexen. So are they willing to attach Ian Ritchie to get somebody to take Marcell Ozuna? Yeah. And if they are, then the Mariners shouldn't have to give up somebody like Trammell.
Yeah, and from a money standpoint, from a money standpoint, I'm giving up 1 year and $8 million for 2 years and 36. I'm good. Yeah. I have no interest. Yeah.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Essentially for me, it's if you want me to take Ozuna's contract from you, you're just going to give me Ian Ritchie. I'm not giving you anything.
Yeah.
Right. And on top of that, it's even more so true because of the off the field issues, which is being generous, that Marcell Ozuna has had over the last few years. So I'm not giving you even Chris Flexen for those two. So that's how bad of an anchor Marcell Ozuna is.
The off the field issues, that's where it begins and ends there for me with this conversation, to be quite frank with you.
Right. But then you add the how terrible he's been on the field. He can't play defense.
And the contract. And again, it's all
right. It's just no. The Mariners would essentially be paying $40 million for Ian Ritchie, who I like. Don't like that much. Yeah. I'm out.
And let's just be real about it. Teams only excuse off the field issues if you're really good, and he's not even that. So what's the point of bringing in someone like that if he's not even good, and I have to pay him a ton of money? I have to pay him $18 million a year for the next 2 years.
Right.
No.
I'm essentially paying him to just go away because the Mariners are not going to pay Marcell Ozuna and then play him. They're not going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I know you were trying to, get creative with this and maybe find a creative way to get Ian Ritchie Jr. on the Mariners, because I think that was your angle here. You were talking a little bit about the Pacific Northwest connection and everything. But yeah, this might be the lowest grade we could give, which is 20, because this is just it's a non-starter from a ton of different angles for me.
Right. And like I appreciate the creativity, and like I said, I like Ian Ritchie too, but you don't like forsake everything your organization stands for to get Ian Ritchie.
Yeah.
Like you no, it's not worth the headache. You have like 6 Ian Ritchies in your organization. You're going to be fine. So I have to assume here that coach maybe knows the Ritchie family, or is somehow connected to them. Or is just unaware of the Marcell Ozuna stuff off the field. But those are all red flags that, it's.
But even if you put that aside, which you shouldn't, but even if you put that stuff aside, just the on-field production or lack thereof, and then the $18 million per year, no, I'm so out. No. I have no interest in doing that.
Right. Not for
if I wanted to go spend that kind of money on an aging outfielder who's declining, I'd just go hit up the Rockies about Charlie Blackmon.
Yeah. Or I could have just given Mitch Haniger the qualifying offer.
Which is and Mitch Haniger is actually like a good player. Blackmon and Ozuna
and
not.
He's a good guy. So it's just no. It's a no for me. I see the thought process behind it. I get it. It's pretty creative, but it's just dead on arrival because of Ozuna. Just everything about Marcell Ozuna.
Yeah. The whole package. All right, we got 1, 2, 3 more trades to go here on today's show. But before we get into those, a quick reminder, today's episode of Locked On Mariners is brought to you by Built Bar. Looking for a delicious treat but don't want all the fat and calories? And you got to try Built Bar. We just got through the holidays, and I know my goal is to eat a little healthier this year. And if you're like me, where you want to eat healthier but don't want to compromise taste, then man, I've got just the thing for you. You got to try Built. With Built, healthy is actually tasty. Seriously, they're so delicious you won't think they're good for you. Perfect for your New Year's resolution. What makes Built Bars so good? Well, for starters, they are all covered in 100% real chocolate. That's right, real chocolate. And they come in unbelievable flavors like churro, peanut butter brownie, and coconut almond. I'm not sure how Built does it, but these bars taste like a candy bar while maintaining amazing macros. And what's even better is that they are healthy. Only 130 calories and 4 grams of sugar with a whopping 17 grams of protein. And now you don't need to wait around to get a box. For years, we've been talking about ordering your Built Bars at Built.com. Now you can get them at your local Walmart or Sam's Club. That's right. Head to your nearest Walmart today, walk to the pharmacy section, and grab yourself a box of Built Bars. You can pick up a 4-bar box of cookies and cream, double chocolate, or coconut puffs. And if you're close to Sam's Club, run in, grab a 13-bar box with our hit flavors, brownie batter, and churro. You can thank me later. All right. Final few trades here on Fan Fiction Friday for our final week on our 3-show slate. Remember, we are going back to a full schedule. Starting next week, you're getting us Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, every single week until the middle of December. I keep on saying it just to torture Colby. Next trade comes from Alex Ledbetter. Friend of the show, Alex Ledbetter, one of our former writers over at the website that must not be named. Mariners receive 1 year of right-handed reliever Scott Barlow from the Royals. Oh, Colby, you're going to hate this. This is going to be 20. An automatic 20 from you. Yep. Outfielder Taylor Trammell and infielder Hogan Windish. Yeah.
20.
Yeah. I assumed as much. I'll be the one to give you a serious answer here, Alex. I don't think this is enough for Scott Barlow, to be quite honest with you. I think the Royals are going to want something more on the top end than Trammell and then and Windish. Windish is a wonderful player that Colby and I really like, but I don't think a lot of people know about him just yet. And Trammell is someone that still hasn't really been able to figure it out at the major league level. I just don't know if that's going to be something that the Royals are interested in giving up, or in taking for, or giving up Barlow for, rather. So,
and I think that's too much to give up for Barlow. 1 year. 1 year Barlow.
1 year Barlow. But he's been really good, man. He's been really good. Yeah.
I don't care.
Also the Royals are weird, right? The Royals have always been weird. They've always overly valued their players. They're overly loyal to a lot of their players, or have been, at least under Dayton Moore. Now Dayton Moore's gone, of course, so maybe that philosophy has changed a bit, but still, this is an organization that hasn't been the easiest to trade with in the past, particularly on guys that have been homegrown, like I believe Barlow was, right?
I don't think I'd give up a top 30 prospect for any rental reliever right now. Right now, when we see what happens in spring training, obviously the guy gets hurt or something, then things change. But I'm comfortable rolling with the bullpen as it is right now and see what happens. And then we get into May and June and I have to make a change, then I can do that for a lot less than those two guys. What did Michael Fulmer going to cost me? Nothing. So I'm good.
I mean, Barlow's a significantly better reliever than Michael Fulmer at this point. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give up Cade Marlowe for Edwin Diaz, so I'm sorry. No.
Also,
that's more about the contract, though.
Quick on Barlow, though. He actually started his career with the Dodgers organization. And then he went over to the Royals. So not necessarily a homegrown guy, but a guy that made his way through the minor league ranks and eventually made his debut with the Royals. They're weird. I'll give this 40. I'll give it a 40.
20.
Nice.
I stand by it.
Yep. I knew you would. All right. We got a couple
Hogan's
of
heroes. What?
Wow. You already got your fan club, huh? Already got the name picked out and everything.
Bowers Rangers.
Yeah.
Yes.
When's the Sea Dragons podcast coming, by the way?
Well, David Locke won't get back to me, so I'm assuming never.
Locked on Sea
Coward.
Dragons. Dracarys. All right,
exactly. That's how I would sign off every show. Anyways.
I'm sure you would. Daisy and the Dingo has a couple of prospect swaps to go over here. The first one is with the Cardinals. It's Mariners get Alec Burleson, who actually made his major league debut this past year. Did not go well. First base, corner outfield, DH type, one of those dudes. And then Cardinals get Emerson Hancock. So this is a pretty expensive venture for the Mariners here. Do you like Burleson enough to give up Hancock?
No. I'm out.
Yeah, I don't either.
He's can't play defense. He's got to hit. To have any value to you whatsoever. Those type of guys, I'd rather have the number 4 starter with Hancock, because I feel like the number 4 starter thing is essentially something you can bank on with Hancock. Burleson he doesn't do enough good things for me to give that up, because it just in general value the pitcher more than the hitter in trade talks. Typically that's how clubs act. So it's not a bad idea. But Burleson he does nothing for me. I'm not a fan of his as a prospect. So yeah,
I don't think he's a great fit either. Like you can stand him out there in a corner outfield spot, but he's not going to do anything for you. And,
you really shouldn't, though.
You really shouldn't, though. And yeah, I just there's better options for you. If you really want to go like a full-time DH or a first base DH type or a first base corner outfield DH type who might actually give you like a little bit better defense. If that's the route that you actually want to go, I don't think that you need to trade Emerson Hancock for that dude.
Right. Burleson, again, doesn't field, doesn't run. Actually repeated AAA before he found success. I think he's an overrated prospect. I really don't think he's anything that special. So I'm out. And I mean, to be fair, right now Hancock isn't really anything that special. Not yet, at least. So
sure. He carries more weight. His name carries more weight though, right now.
Right. But again, Burleson is a guy who should really only be playing first base, and he doesn't even have tremendous power. It's like average-ish power. So he's got to hit. He's got to hit 280 to carry any kind of like with good on base skills, which he's flashed but hasn't consistently shown. He just makes a lot of contact. Which is kind of a guy for me.
I accidentally spoiled our next trade. I'm gonna give the I'm gonna give the Burleson Hancock trade a 35.
I'll give it a 40.
The other one from Daisy and the Dingo, it's another one where the Mariners get a position player and they trade a pitcher. They trade Taylor Dollard to the Blue Jays here for Addison Barger, who's corner and field guy, third base, can play a little bit of shortstop. I think he's going to end up at third though. He's just too good for Taylor Dollard. He's too good at this point. Barger has dominated every level of the minors. He's 23 years old. I think he's going to get a real opportunity to make the Blue Jays Major League Club either out of camp or pretty quick after. They're pretty high on him too, the way that I've heard them talk about him. So yeah, I don't think that he's anyone that they would trade for Taylor Dollard. So
yeah, he's going to be 23 all year. Like you said, he's raked everywhere. He got a cup of coffee at AAA last year, but he spent, he jumped 3 levels last year.
Yeah.
Went from high A ball to AAA. Now he's got a shot to make the big league roster. I get why you're asking about him. The Blue Jays, obviously Bo Bichette's went anywhere for a while. Who is the baseman for Toronto? Oh, Chapman. Yeah.
Matt Chapman.
How could I forget Matt Chapman? Poor man's Eugenio Suarez, but
and then they have like 5 billion second basemen on that team.
Right. Of course. Yeah, they do. So I get why you're asking about him. I just don't think Dollard does anything for the Blue Jays. And Dollard's a guy who actually could help the Mariners this year. So you want to be careful about trading from your starting pitching depth. A little bit here. I think the Blue Jays do this deal. I think a guy like, is it pronounced Barger?
Yeah, Barger.
I think he might be available at some point this year. I think the Blue Jays are going to be, if they do trade him, they're going to trade him for impact major leaguer.
Yeah, he's going to be in a package at the deadline for like a starting pitcher or something. Yeah.
Right, or they're going to go out and get a left fielder, or they're going to go out and get like the plus bullpen arm they really need. That's what they're going to use Barger for, not to prospect swap him for a number 5 starter.
Yeah. And a guy that, and Dollard, who's frankly going to be further, I would say probably further down the totem pole of starting pitchers in Toronto than he is in Seattle right now.
Right.
Especially once Rue gets back, because I think Rue's supposed to get back at some point this year. So, yeah, I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah, I don't think this is something the Blue Jays would even entertain, to be quite frank with you. Just everything that I know about Barger. But yeah, I'll go
Barger. Sorry,
I'll go 40 on this just because it's a little more creative and it makes more sense for the Mariners than the Burleson idea.
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't think there's any realistic chance of this happening though. I
think if you want Barger on the Mariners, like if that was like your only priority, and obviously it's not. We know it's Daisy's not, but Daisy's not only it's not Daisy's only priority to get Barger on the Mariners. But if it was hypothetically, then I think you're giving up like Paul Sewald at least. So
yeah.
Someone
that significantly helps the Blue Jays at the major league level.
Yeah,
for sure.
Agreed.
All right, I'm gonna say it one more time. Next week we are going back to 5 shows a week. So this little routine that you found yourselves in, where you're only checking on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays for our show, stop it. Check us out on Tuesdays and Thursdays as well, because we're going to be releasing episodes on those days from Monday until the middle of December. Now, there's going to be a few days here and there where, something comes up and we don't do a show, or we're like, you know what? I don't feel like doing a show today, and we're just not going to do a show. But for the most part, we're going to be doing shows 5 times a week, every single week. Say it one more time just to break Colby's heart even further. 5
you say it one more time, I'm not going to give away this Matt Brash autograph card.
Wow. Is that the same one that you got me for Christmas?
No, actually, I think it's a little same picture, I think, but I think it's a little different.
Gotcha.
Numbered autographed. We'll talk about that next week.
Yeah. All right. So keep an eye out for that. I also have a little something that I'm planning on doing as well, but maybe I'll save that for the week after then, since you're doing that next week. We'll see. Maybe we'll do 2 giveaways simultaneously. We'll do 2 simultaneous giveaways. All right. That's going to do it for our show. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Locked On Mariners podcast. For Colby Patnode, I'm Trident Gonzalez. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Dane Gonzalez, that's DANEGNZLZ, and Colby at CPAT11, that's CPAT11. You can also find all that stuff in the description of this episode. And thank you again for making us your first listen. Now make your second listen. Locked On MLB Prospects host Lindsey Crosby is a prospect encyclopedia, and he's going deep on the MLB stars of tomorrow. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts, just like us. And with that, have yourself a beautiful baseball day. Wow, I messed up my tagline. We'll see you on Monday. Peace.